This is the Phone Lynx. It's like a $20 deal on Amazon. And what it basically is just a Bluetooth link, like a headset. But what it does is it emulates a dial tone, so you can plug in, your standard home phone. So the way this works is basically, or what I'm using it for, is to set up a phone system that is using a cell phone as the connection. So when your mother-in-law, in this case, she's got the Comcast triple play and she's paying $150 a month, you say, hey, listen, we're going to put you on this $16 TV plan, which they have to offer by law, which is just the best plan because they don't charge you for the boxes and all that jazz. And she gets, I don't know, something like 50 channels. They're all just the stuff that you would get over the air, but plus some music channels are built into that. It's just the best deal. And then she's just paying the $49.99 for like internet, for like a decent internet connection. But then she wants to have the landline. So this is how you can basically, what I have in here is an ultra mobile SIM chip in that old iPhone that's underneath there. And so her home phone is basically a cell phone, but she doesn't really, she knows it, but she doesn't remember it, and for everything she's concerned with, everything works fine. So let me show you how this works. So I'm going to put like, if we do, I guess, phone on, and then if I push speaker, so you hear the dial tone there. So that's how that works. Yeah, I mean it's emulating as if it's a real phone. So if I do this again, let's see. Yeah, the Phone Lynx isn't actually, it's not connected yet to the cell phone. It's just doing its job to like make it pretend that it's a phone. All right, so I'll show you how like the phone calls work. All right, so I've got a phone set up here. I'm going to make a phone call from the cell phone. I've got like 3 phones going here. I'm recording with one. All right, so we're calling the house. Let's see what happens. All right, so that was 1 ring. You can hear it ringing. 2 rings. Okay, so it is a little bit of a delay before it connects, but it's ringing the handset. Okay, and then I'm going to go hello, hello, hello. On this one, you can sort of hear it coming out of here. Let me just put this on speaker. Testing 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. Check 1 1. Yeah, so everything's working fine that way. So that's outgoing call, and then you can hang up. So and cool. So that one went down. All right, so let me dial that cell phone. We'll see how this goes. So this is what you're going to hear. Okay, so it's connected now to the cell phone, and now the ring goes. So, and then we'll see how long it takes to pop up on this guy. I guess that was the wrong number. Well, we certainly found out some interesting things, so that was pretty quick, right? Here, I'll just redo that, do that again. So if I just say hang up, decline. All right, and then I'll just redial that number again. I'll show you the full. Okay, linked. So you can see it did take a little while for it to go through to route the call, but it does work. And it's like the delay on here is like crazy. Yeah, really the only other thing I want to show you is just how I have it hooked up with the answering machine. Obviously, like some SIM chips, you know, the deal is that they want you to use their voicemail, which is obviously like a major problem, because then you would have to, from the home phone it would go to like a voicemail that you could only access through the cell phone, or you would have to call a number to get access to it. So I'd still want to use the answering machine, and I assume it works. We are learning a lot today about how this system is operating. All right. Okay, so I'm calling the house again from the cell phone, and we'll see what happens. So the way I have it set up is to try to have like the maximum number of rings on the cell phone before their voicemail picks up, and the minimum number of rings on the home answering machine, so it will grab it.
Hi, you've reached 73229. Leave a message, someone will get back to you.
So you can see the home phone is working correctly, and that's great, and so that's working as designed. Alright, just to go through it one more time, I'm going to call the cell phone again, just from here, and maybe you can see the iPhone wake itself up. It's just plugged in at all times, so that's interesting. Yeah, because it's on Bluetooth, the screen actually does not go on, so that's very cool, and we'll try that. Alright, so now we get the cell phone calling the home again. We'll see if this guy, yeah, so the screen would come on the iPhone. It's pretty interesting, right? So it's sending the phone through the Bluetooth, emulating it through to the home phone, and sometimes there's like a little bit of a delay, like when I call my mother-in-law, it'll be like, she'll pick up and I'll hear like half of hello, yeah, this is a great system. I mean, for 20 bucks, you know, and I just leave this phone, I got it just strapped here onto the table, and it's just an old iPhone 4. And like I said, I had to use the, I found Ultra Mobile was just the cheapest. So basically, you know, I think it's like $19.20 a month, you know, that I pay for that SIM card. And that's substantially cheaper than the 40 bucks that it would cost to actually get a real landline. I don't even know what that would cost, if it's even available, but to do the triple play, which would be, or the Comcast landline, which is basically just the emulation coming out of the, I still have the, you know, the original box here, which has got the phone jacks on it. I did buy my own equipment, and we can always switch back to that if we have to. But yeah, so right now, I mean, her only bill is her internet, and that's $16 TV plan. And then for the landline, she pays 20 bucks a month. So I said, you know, do you want to have that landline? Like, I mean, you could set it up that, you know, when she came home, she would dock her cell phone, and it would automatically link up to the Bluetooth, and then all calls coming through her cell phone would be routed into the landline. But obviously that's like super, you know, not reliable, because if the phone is in the other room, maybe the Bluetooth connection's bad, and then so it made sense just to get a dedicated phone with a SIM card, with its own SIM card in there, and I actually ported the landline number from Comcast to Ultra Mobile, so it was pretty interesting. Just a note on that, the way I had to do it was actually, I had bought a SIM card for Ultra, and they wouldn't allow me to port it in because that SIM card had already been activated. So I actually had to buy another SIM card, and it took them and I said, well, when I activate this other SIM card, I want to port in a number. And there actually are agents that can help you with that. They're part of the porting department. And so what they did was they ported the number out from Comcast and ported it into that SIM card. And as soon as that was done, I swapped the SIM cards out. So, there was a day or two there where her landline phones, I had everything just forwarded to her cell phone through Comcast. But in the end, if you want to try to do this, or, you got a home that you want to say, how can I keep my landline so there's no major difference in my equipment, because maybe you really like having your desk phone, it sounds great, all these things. Also, the audio quality, it's a little bit less because it is being routed through a cell phone, but it's pretty good. And obviously she can hear everyone and they can hear her, and she's had this set up now for a year, and I have had 0 complaints. So, like I said, there's an important step there with the answering machine. You want to get your home answering machine to pick up before the cell phone voicemail will. I've learned that a lot of cell phone voicemails will not allow you to deactivate their voicemail for some reason. The only thing you can really do is through a string of numbers, you can basically set the pickup time for going to voicemail to the max, which I think is 6 rings or 6 or 7 rings or 25 seconds or something like that, and then set your home voicemail to pick up after three or 4 rings. And that's kind of the sweet spot to make sure that everything is routed there, because you're going to have kind of this 2 or 3 rings that occur before actually the rings start here at home. You saw that where the cell phone was ringing for 1 or 2 times before the home phone was ringing. And then obviously you're going to get that delay where the cell phone, the iPhone, had a ring or 2 on it before it had been transferred to Bluetooth, and then the blue, what is this thing called again? Phone Lynx. That Phone Lynx actually woke up and started, pulsing the analog dial tone as if you're getting a phone ring. So, yeah, cool setup, man. I wanted to just kind of do a video on this because, the worst, I always tell people, I'm like, man, the way the middle class wastes their money, it's cell phones, cable TV, and car payments. You know what I mean? So it's if you can knock one of those out, which would be your cable bill, and just say, I'm just going to pay for internet and the $16 TV plan so I can watch NBC and ABC and the networks in great quality without a 500-foot TV antenna on your roof. That's worth it. And then the cable internet is great. It's super stable and everything. So, you can do the Netflix and all the rest of that stuff. But figuring out how to do a home phone line, basically you're running it through a cell phone. It's just the cheapest way, and yeah, it's just worked out really well. It's just an old iPhone. It's connected on Bluetooth to that device, and the setup is pretty much just plug and play. I mean, once you connect that thing to Bluetooth, you just plug your phone system into that back of that box, and that's literally it. The toughest thing was just basically setting up the iPhone with a service provider that was compatible. It would be great to use, I forget what it was, if it was Freedom Pop or there was another. You got to be careful because some of these super cheap SIM card providers, they actually will route your call through kind of like a Google Voice. I think there was a company that I tried first that was just super cheap. It was $10 a month or something. And I found out that when they route the calls, you have to have their app installed, and it's going to route it through a virtual number. So it wasn't compatible with this device that would kind of figure out what number you're calling and pass it through to the phone. So I'm not sure if that makes a whole lot of sense, but basically you're going to need a cell phone provider that actually gives you a real number and routes all the calls, not through an app, not through Wi-Fi, but through the cellular network, and you have a real number that you can port in. Porting a landline phone number to cell and a cheesy company like Ultra Mobile actually is possible to do. So, if you got any questions, just post it in the comments and I'll try to answer. All right, good luck. Help out your mother-in-law or your grandma or whatever. Save them, they'll be happy to save that. I mean, it's really almost like a $50 savings a month, or a $30 savings a month, which does add up. Alrighty, good luck guys, bye.